Yeah. Anyways, we are back today with some more reacting to Pokemon videos because I have brain rot. I deeply apologize. Anyways, we're gonna be reacting to some more MandJTV today because he has become my favorite PokeTuber. So, we're gonna be reacting to best starter Pokemon if every game had all of them. Now, it is pretty common knowledge that, you know, certain starters are not great for certain games, but, you know, maybe those starters might be good in other games. So yeah, let's take a look.
Fans, Michael here, and
Hello.
what if in every mainline Pokemon game you could pick every starter? What does the best starter in each region become? Let's find out. Some important things to note first. Number one, I will only be looking at the grass, fire, and water starters because it's less messy that way.
Yeah, we're not gonna look at the Let's Go starters, I'm assuming, right?
Number two, I'm assuming Gen 9 battle mechanics. It's impossible to look at how a Gen 9 Pokemon would fare in a Gen 1 game since we don't know their Gen 1 movesets. So I'm just assuming all these regions have been redone with the modern battle mechanics. Let's start with Kanto, where the best starter is normally Bulbasaur. Immediately, it dominates the first two gyms, rock and water type. A starter's matchup against the earlier battles matters more because you have fewer team options, so you need to be able to lean on your starter more. It then goes on to resist the electric gym, neutrally match up against the grass gym, and excel against Giovanni's ground types.
Yeah.
But now what becomes the best Kanto starter if we can pick from all 27? Well, it's still gonna be a grass type for sure, due to the early gyms in the game, but is there one that can do it better than Venusaur? I think there is. The main reason is that Venusaur's poison type doesn't do much to help it. Fairy types in Kanto are few and far between, and pure grass types that would be weak to poison are even rarer. Instead, the main thing it does is make it weak to Psychic, and that's a problem. Psychic was overpowered in Gen 1
There is a lot of Psychic in Gen 1.
Dark not existing, Bug being useless, Ghost being glitched and not being able to damage Psychic, and Special Attack and Special Defense being one stat. However, even in more modern games like Let's Go, Psychic is still the best type in Kanto due to your limited options for how to deal with it. Scyther and Pinsir actually have Bug-type moves now, unlike in Gen 1, but outside of them, the Bug types are weak. Gengar is quite good,
Let me take a guess, and this is just a wild guess, okay? This isn't like a I know for sure. Maybe Torterra? Question mark? I don't know. Torterra could be good.
Weak to Psychic due to its poison typing. And then there's no Dark types at all. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee did add some Dark and Ghost types via the in-game trades for Alola forms, but they're not super accessible. In short, a starter that can handle not only the first two gyms, but the very powerful Psychic type is instantly the best. Meganium, Sceptile, Serperior, and Rillaboom are all pure grass type, making them not weak.
I'm so sad that Serperior ended up being pure grass. You know, it confuses me because Emboar, if I'm remembering correctly, is fire fighting? So, like, why did Emboar become a dual type? But then Samurott and Serperior are just monotypes. That has always confused me. That has always confused me. I never knew why. Why? And they made one starter just significantly better than the other two.
To Psychic, but not strong against it. Torterra's ground type gives it strength for the first three gyms, which is super impressive.
That's what I was thinking.
But actually not, since Lieutenant Surge's level is too low for your Grottle to evolve before the fight. Chestnut and Hisui and Decidueye are immediately out since their fighting type makes them weak to Psychic. That leaves us Decidueye and Meowscarada, since their Ghost and Dark types respectively make them the dedicated Psychic type handlers of your team.
Both really good starters, by the way.
But which of the two is better? I say Meowscarada. Additionally, Meowscarada is just a preposterously good Pokemon. It has both higher attack.
Flower Trick, right? I'm remembering. Flower Trick, great move.
And speed than Decidueye. It's even faster than Alakazam, so it would likely sweep Sabrina with ease. It's faster than Gengar too, so add Agatha to the list of trainers it's helpful against. Additionally, its signature move, Flower Trick, is busted.
So good!
Can't miss and always crits? Good God.
I just spammed that. During my first playthrough of Violet, you already know, I spammed the shit out of Flower Trick.
Brigatito, and thus Meowscarada, is the best starter for Kanto. Now let's move to Johto, where my pick for the best starter normally depends on the generation. In Gen 2, I felt it was Cyndaquil since it's good against Bugsy, then Jasmine, and then somewhat Price later, but then in Gen 4, I think it's Totodile. The physical special split gives Feraligatr the better attacking stat for its water moves, but also the super useful coverage of Ice Fang and Crunch. So with modern mechanics, I still prefer Feraligatr. There's definitely a non-Johto starter I could see being better though, since a lot of them have useful dual typings that the original trio lack. I can't say for certain. Definitely not a grass type though. Chikorita is completely useless.
I'm crying. I love Chikorita. Chikorita deserved better!
In Johto, because not only are the first two gyms strong against grass, but grass is not good against any other major battle. The gym order in Johto is Flying, Bug, Normal, Ghost, Fighting, Steel, Ice, Dragon. Options that immediately stand out to me are the fire fighting starters, Blaziken, Infernape, and Emboar. That's because they're strong against the Bug, Normal, Steel, and Ice gyms, which is half of all of them, a huge percentage for one Pokemon to be good against. You do have to be sure not to evolve your starter before battling Falkner, but that's likely since in both Gen 2 and Gen 4, his team is lower than any starter evolution level. Charizard may seem comparable since its flying type swaps the normal advantage for a fighting one, but that isn't actually helpful since your Charmeleon is unlikely to be fully evolved when you face Chuck's low-level 30s Pokemon. Delphox has the same issue, gaining its helpful secondary Psychic typing too late to really help with Chuck. Same goes for Incineroar, Hisuian, Typhlosion, and Skeledirge, since their Dark and Ghost types will definitely arrive long after you've fought Morty. Then of course, pure fire type Cinderace is no more helpful than Typhlosion. Meanwhile, the firefighters get their secondary type early, in time to help with the third gym. Meanwhile, the water starters don't get the bug advantage, and most run into the same issue as most of the fire types, gaining their secondary typings too late. In fact, the only one that does get its secondary typing in the middle stage is Mudkip, with Marshtomp being a water ground type. That is excellent typing, only having one weakness to grass, and there aren't any major Johto grass specialists. The problem comes offensively. That type combo is only good against the Steel gym, plus Team Rocket poison types. Therefore, one of the three fire fighting starters is going to be the best in Johto, and while all three I think would fare well, Infernape stands out to me the most. And that's because of just a good starter move. Okay, yes, Infernape is also the fastest of the three, and speed is really important in playthroughs. If you're fast and hit hard with a super effective move, you can sweep a lot of major battles. Plus, it's got balanced attack and special attack, giving you more options for offense, and it has the widest coverage move pool. However, the main reason I picked it is because of how it handles the most difficult Pokemon in the game. Whitney's Miltank.
Oh my god, I fucking hate that Miltank. I fucking hate that guy.
I chose the firefighters because of their early advantage against the normal gym, so of the
fuck that cow.
The three of them, it makes sense to pick the one that's best suited to beat the frickin' Miltank. By the way, speaking of Miltank, once my MandJTV Plays channel reaches 1 million subscribers, I will be doing a solo Miltank playthrough on that channel.
And he did.
Suffering to bribe you to subscribe so I can get another plaque.
Yeah! So, by the way, if you haven't also subscribed to my YouTube channel, I would like a plaque one day as well.
But please subscribe there, but also to this channel.
Also subscribe to MandJTV, please.
If you haven't already. A big thing to note for the Whitney battle is that none of the middle stage firefighting starters can outspeed Miltank. Miltank has the ridiculous for a fat, gross cow speed of 100.
Okay, that was a little personal. that was personal.
100. So Combuskin, Monferno, and Pignite aren't coming close. I considered picking Pignite since it's the bulkiest and thus could take hits the best, but then I remembered the move Monferno gets. Mach Punch. This priority move makes it so Monferno is the only one of the three that can hit Miltank before it gets hit, completely removing the risk of stomp flinching. Now, I haven't done any calculations, so it's possible that Mach Punch doesn't do enough, but like, I'd rather do that than just like bank on living a hit or not flinching with Pignite and then hoping for a lot of arm thrust hits, or like Combuskin just getting hit and taking a lot of damage. In short, Chimchar is the best starter for Johto.
We love monkeys.
Assuming you can't get a hidden ability Torchic.
I love that damn
You
monkey.
get a Torchic and thus Blaziken with speed boost, then that just wins. But probably not, because you don't tend to get hidden abilities for playthroughs. Haha!
it is
It is I,
I.
Grunty.
Grunty boy.
Oh no. What's wrong, Grunty boy?
Hey, man, are you okay?
I have a dehydration headache. I know how important it is to drink water, but plain water just doesn't hit the same way, you know? But then flavored drinks have a lot of other stuff in them that I know isn't good for me.
Well, then you should try the sponsor of this video, Air Up. Air Up allows you to flavor your water without actually adding anything to it by using the power of smell. Most of our sense of taste is actually smell, so by smelling something at the same time as you're drinking the water, it's effectively flavoring the water, but you're just drinking regular water.
What? There's no way that works.
Why don't you try it?
Yeah, I think I had a friend that had one of those.
Sorcery!
Not sorcery, just science and engineering. All you have to do is fill the bottle, pick a flavor pod. My favorite is the peach tea one. Put it over the mouthpiece, lift up, and boom, flavored water.
That is actually insane. I need one
That is
now.
kind of crazy.
You can get your own Air Up water bottle and see all the different flavors by clicking the link in the description below.
Excellent. I will do that immediately. And then I will ascend to being the god of being hydrated.
Wait, but that's me!
I could use some workshopping. Ta-ta!
Next is Hoenn, where normally Mudkip is the resounding best starter. With the ground type it gains as Marshtomp, it beats 3 of the first 4 gyms, then goes on to be strong against most of Tate and Liza's Pokemon, most of Team Magma, and a significant portion of Steven's team. Additionally, as I mentioned, its water ground typing only has one weakness, grass, and Hoenn has no major grass specialists. Till I did it.
Chirova, thank you so much.
I'm the grass gym leader of Hoenn. Now that we can choose from all of the starters, can any of them beat Mudkip? No. No, none of them can. The Swampert line is actually so good that it's the first one to keep its crown in its own region, since no other starter can handle 3 of the first 4 gyms. Almost all the fire starters but the firefighters do nothing in the first 4. The firefighters can handle Roxanne's rock types, but then they don't have offensive advantage again until Norman. As for the other water starters, none of them are ground type except the Mudkip line, making them weak to Watson's electric types instead of strong against them. While those with secondary typings like Empoleon, Primarina, Greninja, and Quaquaval are useful for later battles, those secondary typings are too late. Then most of the grass starters beat Roxanne, but again have no other offensive advantage in the first half of the gyms. Torterra's ground type is cool, but it comes too late to help with Watson. The Rowlet line is interesting though, beating Roxanne and Brawly thanks to flying, but of course with the weak to rock risk factor. Alolan Decidueye is then good for the normal gym, then great for the psychic and water gyms, while Hisuian is great for the normal and water gyms. That does mean that Decidueye gets more gyms than Swampert, but the good matchups are later, and the earlier ones are just rockier.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you could probably beat the first 4 gyms with Mudkip and Marshtomp alone, except maybe Brawly might be a little tough. Swampert's defensive typing and earlier power edges out Decidueye in my opinion. Plus its ice coverage is extremely helpful for Winona and Drake. Swampert's lead over Decidueye becomes even greater if this is a version of Hoenn with Mega Evolution, since Swampert can Mega Evolve while Decidueye cannot. Next is Sinnoh, where normally Chimchar is the best starter. Evolving it into Monferno before the first gym, possible because it evolves at the low level of 14, allows it to have an advantage over both the rock and grass gyms. It then goes on to be good against the steel and ice gyms later. A pretty impressive performance that'll be tough to beat, but not impossible. Because there is a starter that is not only better in the first half of the game, but it's just as good, if not better, in the second half. Rowlet is insane in the Sinnoh games. I've bagged on Rowlet multiple times this video for being
I'm telling you!
grass starter that's weak to rock. So that is some points against it for that first rock type battle. But then its flying typing makes it one of only 2 non-fire starters to be good against Gardenia's grass types. The other is Ivysaur, but that's only somewhat true since its poison moves will be neutral against her Rose Raid. But then things get interesting when you keep going. Whether Maylene is fought 4th like in Platinum or 3rd like in the other 4 Sinnoh games, she's low enough level for your starter to probably not be fully evolved, meaning you should still have a Dartrix, which is a flying type, which is good against fighting. Then after Maylene is always Crasher Wake, who's a water trainer, who of course is weak to grass. That means for the gym progression in the not Platinum Sinnoh games, Rowlet and Dartrix are offensively strong against the first half of the gyms. But then things continue to get interesting when it evolves, because this is the Sinnoh region which used to be called Hisui. So one would think if you evolve a Dartrix in the Sinnoh region, it becomes Hisuian Decidueye.
Is that how that works? Huh. I'm sure it is.
That would make sense in the lore. Like, Quilava became regular Typhlosion, not Hisuian Typhlosion in the Gen 4 games. But like, if Hisuian Typhlosion existed, it probably would have. So therefore, it becomes a grass fighting type, which gives it advantage over the Steel and Ice gym, with Ice being somewhat risky defensively. But what this means is that if you have a Rowlet into a Dartrix into a Hisuian Decidueye, your one starter
Logic is weird.
is good against 6 of the 8 gyms. That is unheard of.
That is
Even
disgusting.
if it evolved into regular Decidueye, it would surpass Infernape in my opinion. The matchup against Rourke, Gardenia, Maylene, and Wake remains unchanged, but the Fantina fight is affected depending on the order. In the Platinum order, it sadly won't help since there's no chance your Dartrix has evolved. But in the Diamond Pearl order, it would definitely be evolved before that battle, which is of course risky since Ghost is good against Ghost, but it's not to be ignored. Alolan Decidueye is also just a bit better in the Elite Four, since while Hisuian Decidueye is good against just Bertha, Alolan is good against Bertha and Lucian. So in short, Rowlet is the best starter for Sinnoh, and is even better if it evolves into the, what I believe to be lore-accurate, Hisuian Decidueye. I'm pretty sure. I guess I know that there's like Dark-type Sneasel in Sinnoh, and then there's Hisuian Sneasel in Hisui. But like, if it's all the way from Alola, it's gonna be colder. It's gonna need the extra hat and the autumnal leaves.
Fair enough.
Like, I feel like it should become Hisuian Decidueye. Next is Unova, and unlike most of the other regions, I'm dividing my answer based on the game. That's because the gym leader roster changes quite a bit between Black and White and Black 2 and White 2. The best starter for Black and White is normally Tepig. While the first gym is designed to be equally difficult for all starters, the next two are Normal and Bug, two types that Pignite's fire fighting type is strong against. Emboar is then later good against the Ice gym, marking 3 gyms total, 2 of which in the first 3. Samurott and Serperior are only good against Clay. Speaking of Clay, Pignite is sort of good against him thanks to Krokorok being weak to fighting and Excadrill being weak to both fire and fighting. But of course it's defensively risky. Emboar is also the only one of the 3 to have an advantage over any Elite Four member. But then if we zoom out and look at all of the starters, well, the best one is still gonna be a fire fighting type. With Normal and Bug being 2 of the first 3 gyms, fire and fighting are the way to go. That means that Blaziken, Infernape, and Emboar are all the strongest candidates. So while one is the best, the others are right behind it. It's a close call between the 3, but I'm picking Chimchar for 2 reasons. First is that it evolves the soonest. Chimchar evolves into Monferno at level 14 compared to Torchic into Combusken at 16 and Tepig into Pignite at 17. That means you get the powered up fighting type starter sooner. So soon in fact that you could feasibly use Monferno for the very first gym. The Striaton gym, led by Silent, Chili, and Cress, is designed to be battled against with unevolved starters. Their highest level Pokemon is 14, while the Unova starters all evolve at 17. However, if you had a Chimchar and matched Cress's Panpour's level, the first gym becomes way easier. Mach Punch now easily handles Lillipup, and despite the type disadvantage,
the Mach Punch power-up punch combo is so good.
Monferno has significantly better stats than
Unova starters do evolve a little late.
Panpour, and now
Monferno being at 14 honestly feels unfair.
Has an unresisted stab move it can attack
that
with.
Shit feels
Bigger
so
monkey,
unfair.
Smaller problem. The second reason is that, as I've mentioned, the Infernape line is the fastest of the 3. This matters most for Lenora and Clay. For Lenora, Monferno is the only middle stage that can outspeed her Watchog. I remember getting
I fucking hated that fucking Watchog. I hated that. I hated it so much. Fuck the Watchog. I hate that bitch.
Frustrated fighting that Watchog when it would go faster than me and put my Pokemon to sleep with Hypnosis and then just whack them. But Monferno is faster and it gets Taunt at level 9, allowing you to shut down any sleep.
That's rude. You know what else is funny? You want to know what else is funny? You are in timeout now. Did you know your model does that? Brother, real screw that Watchog. No, I am in full belief that I feel like most people Most people fucking hated that Watchog. I hated it. The gym leader has the same annoying Pokemon as the evil team. Lenora, part of Team Plasma? I don't know. It was tough, but we found a way. Yeah, that hypnosis. I remember that. I remember crashing out as a child. So disgusting.
Sleep shenanigans, then...
By the way, if you want to be rude in my chat, me and my mods are more than happy to bonk you.
pummel away with Mach Punch. Then for Clay, Monferno outspeeds Krokorok and can Mach Punch Excadrill, so while risky, it's not useless in that battle. Black 2 and White 2 changed a lot of things though. Instead of the trio...
I saw a tip. Hold up. I saw a tip. Who did that? Who did that? I heard the noise. I heard the noise. Let me see. Sorry, somebody tipped. I have to go say thank you. I must say thank you. From Lenora's Watchog, what the fuck did I do? Anytime it's time to go to sleep, sigh. What the fuck did I do? You had hypnosis and all the super fang? Yup, confused Ray? Those are crimes. Those are, thank you for the $4.20. Oh, I don't know which one of you guys did that, but that was really funny. Thank you, Lenora's Watchog. Disgusting moveset.
Gym, then Normal, then Bug. The first 3 gyms are Normal, Poison, Bug. Additionally,
Roxy was so cool!
Bryson, the Ice Leader, is gone, replaced by Marlin, the Water-type gym leader, as the final battle.
Or actually might be the only moment we had kind of voice acting in that Pokemon.
Tepig remains the best starter, but it's not as good as it was in Black and White. The new Normal gym is now too low level for Tepig to evolve into Pignite without over-leveling, and the Ice gym is gone. Roxy's Whirlipede is weak to fire though, plus it's still better than Samurott in Superior. Samurott is still only strong against 1 gym, and while Superior now has 2 thanks to Marlin, it's weak to 2 of the first 3 gyms, which is a deal breaker in my opinion. But then we look at all the starters and 2 things stand out to me right away. The first is that a fire starter is almost certainly going to be the best. Fire beats Roxy's Whirlipede and Berg's Bug types, so that's still useful against a large portion of the early game. The second is that the fighting type that was so helpful in Black and White may not be necessary. No starter will evolve before battling Charon, since his Lillipup is only level 13. The fighting type can still be useful later for Clay's Krokorok and Excadrill, plus Marlin's Caracosta, but all 3 of those Pokemon stomp on fire types with their other type. I think instead the best choice is a fire type that looks like a fighting type, but isn't. Incineroar. Litten and Torracat perform similarly early on as the fire fighters. While not Stab, Torracat does get the fighting coverage of Double Kick. It diverges more once Torracat evolves into Incineroar though. The fire and dark typing make it much better against Skyla than a fire fighter, since it now has super effective stab against her Swoobat and Skarmory, while not being weak to their flying moves. While risky, its dark moves are also strong against Marlin's Jellicent. Incineroar is also one of the best starters in the Pokemon League, since its dark typing beats 2 of the 3 Elite 4 members. So Infernape is best in Black and White, then Incineroar in Black 2, White 2. Next up is Kalos, which has 2 unique situations. The first is that you get to pick 2 starters. First, right away, and then again after beating the first gym in Lumiose City. Additionally, Kalos allows for Mega Evolution shortly after beating the 3rd gym, when your starter is either fully evolved or about to be. Because you can—
that does end up changing things, does it?
pick 2 starters, I always discuss the best starter pair in Kalos, which I think is Fennekin, then Bulbasaur. Fennekin handles the Bug Gym, the Fighting Gym with Psychic Coverage, the Grass Gym, 2/3 of Clement's Pokemon, and the Ice Gym. Meanwhile, Mega Venusaur is useful for its Poison typing that handles Fairy types, and it's more useful than Mega Blastoise. The Mega Charizards would overlap with Delphox. So how I'm gonna approach this when looking at all the starters is that you get to pick starters at the same points in time. One at the beginning of the game, then one after the first gym. Additionally, because Mega Evolution is a central focus of the Kalos region, any starter that can Mega Evolve is allowed to, after the 3rd gym. Immediately, Torchic is the best starter for the first pick. It's a fire type for the bug gym, but also it's fighting typing once it becomes...
I hope we get it. I hope we get it in ZA.
Buskin is actually useful.
We should! Right? I'm sure they're going to make all of the Mega Evolutions available by the time the DLC comes out. I don't know. I think it's a little criminal that they didn't release them all initially, but you know, that's just me.
The unusual rock gym, where Tyrunt is not weak to water or grass, while Amara is offensively good against grass. After the third gym, it can Mega Evolve into the broken Mega Blaziken with speed boost, and it then demolishes the grass gym, 2/3 of Clement, Valerie's Mawile, the ice gym, and Wickstrom in the Elite Four. Now, you might expect me to pick another starter capable of Mega Evolution for the one after the first gym.
Disgusting.
But it's more important to me that a starter covers the battles that Blaziken cannot, rather than the starter being one that can Mega Evolve. And the starter that best covers those gaps is Rowlet. Dartrix will likely still be a flying type when facing the fighting gym, but even if it has evolved into the Grass Ghost Decidueye, it's then immune to the fighting moves. Decidueye then goes on to be strong against Valerie's Mr. Mime and all of Olympia's team. That means between these two bird bros, the only gym leader Pokemon that doesn't get outright destroyed by one or both of them are Surskit, Emolga, and Sylveon. Plus, using one that Mega Evolves and one that can't makes it so you don't have to decide which one to Mega Evolve. Next is Alola, which is so complicated. You've got the totem battles, but also the Kahuna battles, and also some of them are different between Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon. Typically, I say Primarina just edges out Incineroar for the best starter, since while Incineroar is good in more totem battles and against Guzma, Primarina beats all 4 Kahuna battles, including Hala early on, thanks to having disarming voice coverage. These were
Water Fairy disgusting. I fucking love Primarina.
The most complex games to sort out the best starter in. I spent so long figuring this out and writing out all the different battles all the various starters were good against, but after all of that, I feel like Primarina's still the best one.
Yeah!
The firefighting
let's go!
Starters perform similarly to Incineroar, but Primarina is just too good. If you're playing one of the Moon games, disarming voice really early gives Brionne fairy coverage against the first 2 major battles. Then it
the fat rat
can resist the offensive onslaught in the water trial, then it handles the fire trial, meaning it has usefulness in the first 4 big battles. It also gets Baby Doll Eyes and Icy Wind super early, meaning stat drop utility moves and ice coverage. So like Swampert, Primarina stays as the best starter in its own region. Next up is the Galar region, Pokemon Sword and Shield. And in the past, I've said that Scorbunny is the best starter to pick normally, but it's not like amazing. Since the first 3 gyms are grass, water, fire, basically every time a starter's going to be good against one, bad against another, then neutral against the third. Scorbunny's advantage just happens to be against the first gym. It's then useful against Opal since it resists Fairy, then is super effective against Rose, plus the Ice Gym if you're playing Shield. But it's not dominant like the other starters have been. Sword and Shield also have differing gym leaders depending on the version, so for the sake of clarity, I'm gonna give the best starter in Sword and then the best starter in Shield. In Sword, the best starter is Rowlet. Thanks to its flying typing, it's one of only 2 non-fire starters to be strong against the first gym, the other being Bulbasaur. Then it of course excels against the water gym, and then it can even help in the fire gym thanks to Centiskorch being weak to flying. Then it's around this point it's gonna evolve, and while both of its forms are good, I think Hisuian Decidueye is better. If you don't evolve it before B, you'll have the flying typing, but if you do evolve it, you'll have better stats and still have flying coverage. Then it beats the Rock Gym, the Dark Gym, 3/4 of Raihan's team, and Chairman Rose. That totals to 8 major battles it has at least a somewhat helpful role in. Now, of course, lore-wise, it may not really make sense for the Dartrix to become Hisuian Decidueye in the Galar region.
No, it doesn't.
Normally, if you have a Dartrix, it becomes a normal Decidueye.
Normal Decidueye.
But hey, if it becomes a Alolan Decidueye, it's still the best. The first 3 battles don't change, and Alolan Decidueye is actually better against B because it's immune to fighting. It's not as good in the second half of the game due to losing advantages over the Dark Gym and Chairman Rose, but it is still very useful. Other starters come close like the Firefighters and Venusaur, but Decidueye is still the best just due to how useful Rowlet's early game flying type is. I want to honorably mention Primarina though, since it excels for the later gyms, beating Fighting, Rock, Dark, and most of Raihan's Pokemon, but sadly the water starters don't get a gym advantage until the 3rd gym, which is too late compared to the others. But what about Shield? Rowlet and Dartrix's typing is still helpful to a degree in the first 3 battles, but it's no longer helpful against the 4th gym since that's Ghost type now.
Nope.
You could evolve it to Alolan Decidueye before that battle where it becomes double-edged sword good, but now the Rock gym is an Ice gym, turning an advantage into a weakness. Hisuian Decidueye doesn't get hit as hard, since while it can't do anything to the Ghost gym, its fighting type is still good against the Ice gym, albeit more risky. If Hisuian Decidueye is the final form, then I still think Rowlet is the best. But if it's not, then instead the crown falls
doesn't make any sense if it goes into the Hisuian.
Torchic. Its fire type, of course, beats the grass gym, and then, while risky, its fighting type could help with Nessa's Dreadnought. It also gets Aerial Ace's coverage, while Monferno and Pignite do not, thus potentially helping with Centiskorch. Blaziken then beats the Ice Gym, the Dark Gym, 2 of Raihan's Pokemon, and Chairman Rose. Finally, Paldea. I'm not covering Hisui because I firmly believe it really doesn't matter what starter you pick in Legends Arceus.
No, it doesn't. It's just because the battle mechanic is not as important in that game.
Because the toughest major battles are you, not your Pokemon. You just, like, if you just don't die, you don't need your Pokemon at all.
Just
in
don't die,
Paldea, the best starter is normally Fuecoco. If you go in the suggested order of boss fights, which is shown here on screen, Fuecoco and then Skeleton.
Look at him. Oh, wait. I was going to say, look at him. No thoughts behind those eyes, but I think there's thoughts behind this guy's eyes.
Dirge offensively beats 6 of them, and then is defensively immune to 2 more. Its fire type is especially helpful early, defeating 2 of the first 3 big battles, the first 2 gyms. But do you know what's even better? You guessed it, fire fighting. Fire beats the Bug and Grass gym, but fighting also beats the Rock Titan Cloth. It then goes on to beat the Team Star Dark crew, the Steel Titan Orthworm, the Normal gym, and the Ice gym. That's 7 major battles instead of 6, and overall, they're shifted earlier. Oh, also the Titan Iron Treads if you're playing Violet, but that also applies to Skeledirge. Firefighting doesn't do as well defensively as Fire Ghost because it doesn't have any immunities like Fire Ghost does, but being better against more early game battles matters more to me than being immune to the last battle on the list before like the Pokemon League. As an added bonus, firefighting types are not weak to rock, meaning not only will Cloth's rock moves not be a huge problem, but it also means Grass, Terra, Sudowoodo won't be able to hit you for super effective damage like it can to pure fire types. Once again though, we have to pick which of the 3 firefighters is best. Like I've said before, if your Torchic has speed boost, it is the best. But since it probably does not, it's Chimchar. It's really close, but I picked Chimchar because as Infernape, it's the only one of the 3 to have a higher base speed than Larry's Staraptor, a Pokemon that you must outspeed. If you don't, a super effective stab Aerial Ace from a base 120 attack Staraptor is gonna kill ya. So these are the best starters in each region if you could—
Oh my god. We have Infernape in 3 of them. Rowlet in 3? We have Swampert in Hoenn doesn't surprise me. Meowscarada, pretty good. But man, like— Who knew? Who knew? I'm just happy to see Primarina in 1.
Pick any starter.
That makes me so
Sorry to those of
incredibly
you who
happy.
love pure type starters. It's just hard to be as offensively useful if you don't have another type. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not, and support on Patreon for exclusive videos. And that's all I have for now. So until next time, big fans, gotta catch them all.
What a fun vid. I'm just Primarina supremacy. What can I say? I love Primarina. Fighting type is just a good type. No, I don't think anybody is surprised with that. What a fun video. I had a great time.